With it being the international break, of course, there's not much news around Liverpool Football Club at the minute after a busy summer transfer window. But we did have a bit of news yesterday around the Champions League squad. Yes, Liverpool's Champions League squad has been officially announced for the group stage phase, and there has already been a bit of controversy, of course. Now, one name has been left out, and as you can probably tell by the thumbnail and the title, of course, it is Federico Chiesa has been left out of Liverpool's 22-man squad for the group stage phase. And look, don't get me wrong, on the face of it, it is very, very shocking. And it is. Look, Liverpool and Federico Chiesa have had pretty impactful moments already throughout this season, but he has sadly been left out for Rio Ngamoa. Now, I know all of you guys will be confused by that because everyone will be thinking, well, Federico Chiesa, it will surely get a non-homegrown spot. Rio Ngamoa will have a homegrown spot. Well, it doesn't quite work out like that. Now, it's quite different towards Premier League rules and UEFA rules, but Rio Ngamoa has had to take up a non-homegrown spot for the Champions League group stages because Liverpool's homegrown spots were all filled out, of course. Now, again, it is a shame that Federico Chiesa isn't going to be in the Champions League this season, or at least for the group stage phase, but I think it is a little bit of a blessing in disguise, a little bit, where again, Liverpool, when you look at the attacking lineup, of course, look, Liverpool are pretty stacked up front at the moment. Of course, on the left hand side now, you've got Cody Gakpo, you've got Rio Ngamoa, of course, already you have Alexander Isak, of course, who's Liverpool's brand new number 9, and Hugo Ekitike. And on the right hand side, we've already heard Arne Slot throughout this season say that on the right, of course, Liverpool have plenty of options. You've got Mohamed Salah, you've got Jeremy Frimpong, you've also potentially have Dominic Szoboszlai that can play right wing as well and has played there for Leipzig many times before. So Liverpool do have options up top, but it is a shame. So if we take a look at Liverpool's Champions League squad for the group stage, of course, you guys can already see it on screen right now as well as myself. Of course, the goalkeepers, no doubt who was going to be there. Of course, Alisson Becker, Georgi Mamadashvili, and Freddie Woodman. Liverpool's goalkeepers, again, no real surprise there. Of course, now we quickly go down to the defenders. Of course, you guys can see there, Joe Gomez, Wataru Endo, Virgil van Dijk, Ibu Konate, Milos Kerkez, Conor Bradley, Giovanni Leoni, Andy Robertson, and Jeremy Frimpong. Again, no surprises there. And look, Liverpool, when you look at that list, are very stacked in defence. Of course, you've got at least cover for each position, of course. And also, you've got, when we look at the centre-half area, you've got Joe Gomez. Of course, you've got Giovanni Leoni. They are the backups to Virgil van Dijk and Ibu Konate. We've also got again, you have Wataru Endo, and again, you could also have Ryan Gravenberch play in that position, who is in the midfield, as you guys can see there. Of course, Liverpool's midfield for the Champions League suggests of Florian Wirtz, Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, Curtis Jones, and Ryan Gravenberch. Is that the best midfield squad in the Champions League this season? Of course, comparing it to the PSG squad, I think it runs it very, very close. But again, I think our midfield it's one of the best in Europe for sure. Considering a couple of years ago, when again we had that midfield crisis, again it's very nice, isn't it, to look at that and go, yeah, our midfield is top class, if not world class, in that sense as well. And when we look at Liverpool's attacking lineup, of course, as you can already see on screen, we've got Alexander Isak, Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo, Hugo Ekitike, and of course the 17-year-old Rio Ngamoa. Of course, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Do you think Rio Ngamoa will have an impact in the Champions League this season? I think he'll make appearances. Again, depending on what Arne Slot will want to do. He's already spoken in depth, haven't he, in the past, that, you have to give players time to be able to, especially young players, to, establish themselves and then give them game times here and there. But I do think Rio Ngamoa will have a massive impact for Liverpool's Champions League campaign. And again, Alexander Isak, I cannot wait to see him in a Liverpool shirt, especially in the Champions League, banging in goals against Real Madrid, hopefully, at Anfield. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts on Liverpool's Champions League squad. Would you make any changes at all? If you could, is there any room or any way you could have got Federico Chiesa in? Of course, let me know down in the comments. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. Very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts on Federico Chiesa being dropped from Liverpool's Champions League squad. Maybe there might be potential there to get him into the knockout stages when Liverpool do progress. I think Liverpool will progress into the Champions League knockout stages, but I'd be very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts, of course, and as well, would there be any changes that you guys would have made down in the comments to the squad to fit in Federico Chiesa, of course. I'd be very intrigued to know all of your guys' thoughts down below, of course. But let me know your guys' thoughts, because I think it's a bit of a shame that he's not in the squad, but I can fully understand where Arne Slot is coming from and where he is in his mindset of not bringing him into the Champions League squad. But again, I think he'll have massive impact in the Premier League. And I think that will be a massive impact for him. Especially having a huge impact in Liverpool's Premier League season to hopefully retain the Premier League and chase number 21 anyway. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in